All right. Welcome, everybody. This is lesson 7, I believe. Let's double check. I believe we're on lesson 7 today of the 8. Yes, we are. And we're going to talk about how to proactively follow up with the people that are clicking the links in your emails. So when you put viral marketing in place, ultimately, there's only 3 real benefits you're going to get that make money. One, you do the marketing and people call you. Hey, I see your marketing. Let's do business. They reach out to you. Awesome. Someone in your database is watching your videos, they see your stuff online. They literally reach out to you without you having to do anything to say, I want to give you money. Those are the best, right? The second benefit is you're going to start sending out videos, content, solving problems, answering questions. And you can see the people in your database actually click through to watch. So if you send out a video on the 3 things you must absolutely know before you sell your house, you could see everyone that clicks and watches that. Pretty cool, right? And third, we send out emails, we send out messages that drive to landing pages. We talked about this in a previous lesson with an offer for immediate response. Hey, this is your third message every month. So for your 36 touch plan on the Vyral system, you have your 2 educational videos every single month. You want to call the people that watch them. And you also have your third lead generation message every month, which is, inviting people to go back and put their information in somewhere, maybe find out what their home is worth, get a cash offer on their home, maybe download a copy of your business plan or your book of scripts, whatever. And then you have those leads. So between the reach outs from people, the people clicking the links in the emails and the leads, you work those names to appointments. And hopefully that turns into more business that you can arguably directly track from the money that you're spending on Vyral. Got it? And we're going to talk today about doing that, actually reaching out to those clicks and working those people to set appointments. All right. But before we do, I want to take the first 10 minutes here to kind of do a little recap of everything we discussed so far. So everyone here is a viral marketing client. Real quickly, we have Brian Colmier in Utah. He's hired us on the core program for help with agent recruiting. He wants more agents to grow his team. And lesson 1, the way that he's going to build his database is by hiring someone to reach out to all the agents to offer a free book of his updated scripts for the summer. Brian, how's that going?
Hey Frank, it's going well. It's a little bit overwhelming, but we're honestly we're like a week or two behind, still building those lists out. But we have started reaching out and calling to build that momentum
Good.
to
So I want
agents.
it starts with lesson number 1, getting a list of your target market and putting an offer in front of them to see who responds so you can bring people into your database. All right. And then you nurture them from lessons 2 through 8, everything we talked so far. Julianne, you decided several weeks ago to send out a letter to thousands of homeowners in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, to get people to call you who are interested in selling their house. And then you take all those people, you put them in your database, and you put them on the viral marketing plan, implementing lessons 2 through 8 with us. How's that going?
It's going great. Just listed another house. So I'm working through the 35 potential listings that I have,
Good,
and it's going extremely well.
good. And all those people are getting put in your database to follow everything we discussed so far.
Yes.
Great. And Stacy and Dallas, and lesson number 1, to build your database, you guys discussed. So Julianne, by the way, is a realtor for many years in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, looking for listings. Stacy and Dallas are together, and they're in Utah as well. They're looking for listings with kind of a fix and flip concierge flair to it, where they can fix it up to sell it for more. They decided to send out letters to homeowners to get them to call them to grow their database. Letter just dropped. I think you guys set a couple appointments. You said already,
Yeah. Yep.
so that's nice. People
Yeah.
called you
Yes.
and they said, "Come out and let's talk about selling my house."
Yeah. We 2 appointments on Monday, and we'll see what more comes.
Yeah, and even with you guys mailed 3,500 again in lesson 1, we don't do that for you at Vyral. I think you guys mailed 3,500 homes, and I don't know what that cost you. Probably about what, $3,200, $3,100, something like
Yeah.
that.
I think we mailed 3,400 homes and it was $2,900 or something
Okay,
like that, actually.
so if you get a deal or 2 out of that, you'll be all right, especially if it's a fix, a flip, or a wholesale. All right, so who knows? That's great. So then we went through all the other lessons, which you can watch here of syncing up the database, sending out the videos, doing everything on the core program, which ultimately leads us to today, which I want to help you guys out with. All right, Frank, I'm building my database. Let's actually go through the lessons. These are all the things I want you to be able to say that you're doing to get business. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page. I want to answer any questions that you may have of anything that has led up to this point. So let's go through all of the lessons to date. Okay. Are you advertising and prospecting? So advertising is money, prospecting is calling. Are you advertising or prospecting correctly to build a database of your target client? Do you have any questions on what we covered on meeting 1 as we work our way up to meeting 7 today? Do we have your latest database in our system? Do you have any questions on that we covered in meeting number 2? Number 3, okay, now that we have them, they need to be getting 2 educational videos a month. We did a whole lesson on how to shoot those. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. In addition to the 2 videos, I also want them getting 1 immediate reason to respond, 1 offer every month. I went through all the different offers that we can send out to drive them back to a registration page ready to lead. Any questions on that, either for agent recruiting or listings?
Our first lead generation email went out yesterday, and I got 2 home value requests from it.
Good. I think that was actually your initial reconnect message.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was your initial reconnect message that kind of like lays the foundation for all the stuff coming forward. And yeah, we kind of, weasel a little, find out what your home is worth in there later in the copy. And that means they read the whole email and then they click that link. So it's great. Good.
How do we find the open rate?
That's going to be inside your Emma account. So I want you to reach out to your coach and say, hey, will you invite me into my email account? And you can log in there. You can see all the metrics. In fact, I'm going to pull it up today so we can take a look at it. All right.
Yeah.
The open rate's not very accurate. Let me just kind of go on a spiel about that. Don't pay attention to that. The open rate's manipulated by like the iPhone and Gmail, where it's a computer still opening the email. It's not necessarily a human. So it feels good, like, oh, all these humans actually opened and read this. No. The metric that you want to pay attention to is the click rate. You want to pay attention to how many people actually clicked. That's a human that read it and clicked through the email to go read or consume more of whatever that was in there. That's the key metric I want you guys to pay attention to. It's more accurate. All right. So with that, let's go back. Okay, great. Then, okay, yeah, we're sending out a lead generation email once a month. We're sending out 2 helpful videos a month. Sure, it's going on social media, right? Getting posted there. But we talked about the monthly letter. Remember the top 150 of your best contacts, your best past clients, your best seller leads, your best agent recruits. Remember how I went on a spiel on might be one of the most important things to do with the whole program, mail?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever sit down and create your mailing list yet?
We
No,
have
it's okay.
plan to do it today and tomorrow. So,
Good.
yes.
Oh, that's good
we're
news.
going to.
Great. All right.
I'm almost done with mine, Frank, so
Yeah.
it's
Good.
actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, we got it pretty easy at Vyral. It's like, hey, rip off all the emails you got and send an email. I mean, how much emotional labor does that take other than the fear of doing it? But actually coming up with who you're going to spend $12 a year on to send them a monthly letter that might actually refer you or give you business. Yep. You got to build a mailing list. All right. So we also use mail to get your content for your 36 touch program out to your best contacts. Then last week, we talked about, okay, let's give these videos some money and let's give Facebook put some money in the slot machine to see if hopefully this stuff gets delivered to your intended audiences in your database and your website visitors. So they see you on social media. We talked about kind of the touch and go process I have with love-hate relationship I have with online advertising, but there is a piece to that. Do you guys have any questions on meeting number 6 with retargeting ads?
I think for me, I'm getting quite a lot of information back and feedback and leads from my social media ads. But I think I'm going to maybe retarget them differently to my website because they're not filling out the forms, you know what
No
I
one
mean?
will.
Yeah, I know.
No, give up.
Give
Give
up.
up. Give up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then I'll
give
leave
up.
it as it is.
Yeah, it can be done, and there's companies that do it. You know, the Boomtowns, Y Lopos, Commissions Incs. That's their game. That's not what we're doing here. All right.
Okay.
So for Vyral, all I want you to do is it's gonna be, remember the social media retargeting dials? This was your aha last week, is branding,
Got it.
right?
Okay.
It's branding. It's not going to drive leads, at least with what we're doing before you give up.
Okay.
If you do want to drive leads, it's the number one thing that's going to drive leads on your website is going to be, hey, here's these homes, there's home for sale. And if you want more information or you want the price, you got to go register to save your searches, which
Gotcha.
is still going to drive a really top of the funnel kind of arguably crappy lead, right? Relatively speaking, what we're talking about here. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So
That
you
makes
branded.
sense.
Yeah, just so you
Yeah.
know. All right. So let's move on to lesson number 7. So, okay. We're building the database correctly to the right people. We're getting the database over to Vyral Marketing. We're sending them 2 videos a month. We're sending them lead generation emails a month. We're sending our best contacts a letter every month. We have this amazing nurture system in place, the database. We're retargeting them on social media so they spend time with you online and watch your stuff that way, right? So they know you. Okay. Frank, how do I make money at all this? Right? Or even all this, right? Like, how do I get appointments out of this? And I opened this training with there's 3 ways. People will magically call you. Good luck. All right. Really, I wish you the best luck. You're going to see the people clicking the links in the emails, and you're going to have the leads coming with the web forms. All right. So I want to get into the lesson today. So I have the agenda of what I want to cover. Let me put it in the chat. Where is the chat? There's the chat. Everyone. There we go. All right, so let's get started. So I'm actually not even sure what we do at Vyral right now. I should probably look into this. But before, usually about 3 days after a video email goes out, we will send you a report, a spreadsheet of everyone that clicked a link in your emails. I'm not really worried about the opens. Those aren't very accurate. I would spend your time with people that actually click the link in your email. So what's a link in your email? Well, one of the links in your emails will be click here to watch the video, right? So they click to watch the video and it takes them back to your blog to watch it. But there's some other links in your emails too. We also include call to actions along with your video. So for example, if you send out a video on, answering a question about selling the house, we'll also include some other call to actions down below where it's like, oh, by the way, you can click here to find out what your home is worth. Oh, by the way, you can click here to get an instant cash offer on your home. Or, oh, by the way, you can click here to search all homes for sale. Got it? And we put those in the email too. And the first thing I would do is if you get that report, open it. You want to call those people. These people took time out of their day to click the links in your emails. There's a lot of business there. If you're clicking on the links, like one of the ways that we get lots of customers for the past, 14, 15 years I've been doing viral marketing is whenever you get a viral marketing email and you click the link to watch the interview or register for the webinar that maybe you're on or do something, I have appointment setters that call and follow up. Hey, I see you're subscribed to Frank's emails. He sent out this piece of content about this. Would you like to schedule a call here with somebody talking more about working together? And we book a lot of appointments. I wouldn't have viral marketing if we weren't following up with the people clicking the links, because it kind of takes our whole database and shakes the trees, so to speak, of who's actually kind of interested. And then our appointment setters can follow up and, filter, see if they're interested to schedule an appointment for an account manager, or in your case, an agent. All right. But not only do you want to prioritize the clicks of the people watching the videos, but also people clicking the call to action links. And that will be in that report that you get about 3 days after an email goes out. Got it? It'll get emailed to you once you send a video. Julian, are you getting those? Brian, are you getting those? So we are doing that. I should probably know that. All right. Now, there's a better way. I would prefer it. It'll probably be easier for you is if you're just invited into your email marketing account. So we can go into the My Emma account that we created for you and just send you an invite so you can log in. And you can just see it just right there immediately in real time versus waiting for us to export it and massage it into a nice little Excel spreadsheet. I think the reason we did that was because, people were just having just back in the day, just too much trouble just using a computer to even access in the first place. So I decided to put it into a PDF that you can print out and use. Okay. So I want you to make sure you get that report every time an email goes out. So every time you send something, you get to see who's actually clicking it. So let me see if I can show you how this looks. So let's log into an Emma account. All right. In fact, Stacy, why don't we take a look at one of your emails that went out?
Yeah, it was just the only one so far. I think is the reconnect from yesterday, I want to say.
Yeah, let's take a look. What do they have your account under? CHAFFI. Oh, Stacy Chapman. There we go. Perfect. Let me share my screen and here we go. All right. Response. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like you mailed this to 1,896 people. Does that sound right for your email size?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, perfect. So again, here's the open rate. It always looks good. I think it's inflated significantly. Okay. But that wasn't the point of the email. The point of the email was to get people to unsubscribe and not click report spam because it's the first email to like your whole list. The point is just to kind of like set things up, not to generate hardcore leads or to go click through or watch anything quite yet. It's kind of that first initial reconnect email. So let's take a look. It did its job. 69 people did not click report spam. Got it? That's how I look at that. That's awesome. And then it got rid of the bad emails. And even that happened after we scrubbed them through Never Bounce, which I don't know why Never Bounce didn't catch that when we scrubbed your email list, like we talked about earlier in some of the lessons. 26 people did click, and we have that information. So I can scroll down here. So here's your email that went out. Take a look at this. Get the most up-to-date market price of your Salt Lake City home here. 12 people clicked it. So wouldn't it be nice to know without doing much work, instead of like having to slog through what, 1,896 people? I don't know. There's 12. Sounds good to me. Let's call them, right?
Yeah.
Let alone if they opted in. Here's another one. 20. Actually, it's people are more interested in the no obligation cash offer than they are finding out what their home is worth. Interesting, huh? Right. And then I guess that got a click for some reason. I don't know. And then some people clicked some of these links down here for you. Okay. And some people are interested in Vyral. Look at that. That's nice. All right. Let's take a look here at your clicks. And there you go. Here's the people that did. Some people clicked it several times. These names look familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Got it? So now what you want to do is probably deduplicate by mailing address, by email address, and then you'll have your unique clicks. So I think it tells you how many times they clicked it. You really want to know unique, like who's that one person that did. And that kind of shook the trees. And now you have a list of everyone that clicked the links. Works great. Let's see if I can find another one. Julianne, you're sending out your videos, right? JULI. There you go. Let's take a look at you. Response. Getting your home ready. You have a mailing list of 4,200. Okay. So you have 4,200 people on the list. Open rate, click rate. Here's the people that clicked. Probably want to call some of these people. Any people look familiar?
I've been calling them.
Good. Great. Right.
It's quite a list. And yes, some of them are multiples. Some are realtors, but
Good.
let me
Recruit
tell
them.
you, yeah, that's the other thing. I'm going to be starting recruiting here soon with you. So, but yeah, the follow-up is very important, but let me tell you, people don't answer their phones.
No, they don't. And we're talking about that.
Yeah.
So here's the
ridiculous.
thing. sometimes our ego gets in the way of money. I'm perfectly fine if you don't get very many clicks, but those clicks are very high intent. So you can send out a video on the 5 best restaurants to eat at in Gettysburg, and you're probably going to get a lot of higher engagement on that because it has a very wide appeal. Or you can send an email, oh Lord, the sky is falling. We're all going bankrupt and destitute with the real estate market crash coming our way, which seems like every YouTuber puts out there all the time to get attention because pessimism sells so much better than optimism, right? Yeah, you'll probably get a lot of clicks. But are those people actually interested in selling their house or buying one? Not really, right? But if you sent out a video on what you need to do to sell your home right now fast, you probably won't get as many clicks, but the people that do are probably a little more interested in selling their home right now fast. You guys got that? So just always keep in mind, what type of bait you're putting out in your messaging where, okay, don't let your ego get in the way of the size of the response. It's about the right people responding. Fair enough? Just keep that in mind. So the point is you're going to do your best job to build your database, make relevant content, send out with everything we talked about, and hopefully people consume it and the right people consume it so you can follow up and they actually have the need that you solve and they pay you money to solve the need. Okay. All right. So with that being said, I showed you guys how to see who's clicking the video links right inside your email account. Okay. Next, I want you to pay closer attention to people that click the call to action links. So I'll actually tell you what links they clicked. They either watched your video or did they click the links that they wanted a free home value or a cash offer? Those are probably a little more valuable than someone who watches the video. Just keep that in mind. All right, perfect. You guys get that. And one of the things that you guys are going to find is when you run this report, you're like, oh man, I really wish I had their phone number in there. I really wish I had their name. I really wish there was more information than just an email address, right, Julianne? For your report. And Brian, same thing for you, by the way. I want to forget about you because you're recruiting. You're sending out your agent training materials to your agent list, and you're going to see all the agents that are watching your training. That's super valuable. Are you getting those reports? Are you getting videos out?
I
I
am
think
on Brian's list and I got his email.
Perfect.
well, there you go.
Good. And then if you
Thanks,
clicked it, you should
Stacey.
be calling you.
Brian,
Right.
you need
Yeah,
to put me in your list.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll add you.
Good.
Dallas,
Yeah,
we'll add you
these are
too.
Mets. Absolutely. Put
I
'em on.
got Stacy's too, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, I did. It looked
Good.
really good. Thanks.
Great. So what I'm getting at here, you're just going to see the value of, man, when you import your list into the email marketing program, it's going to be really helpful if you have first name, you import the first name into Emma, last name into Emma, email into Emma, phone number into Emma, maybe even need notes. You can create all those fields in Emma and make sure that when you import your list, they're all there. We don't usually go too far into that. You're just list import because we're so busy, we want to get it out. But you can see how it's really helpful having that information on file in the actual Emma report. Got it? Which leads me to something I really want you guys to set up. Please, I want you to call RealSync, RealSynch. Talk to my friend Scott Solari. Okay. I don't know how much the product is, $30 a month, $40 a month. It's a monthly fee. It's not that much. But it's going to link your CRM to Emma. It'll also link your Google contacts to Emma. And do it right. Match first name, match last name, match phone number, match email address, match the fields. So whenever you add someone new to your Google contacts, whenever you add someone new to your CRM, all that information is pushed right on over to your Emma account. We covered this in lesson 2. And you're seeing some of the importance of this right now, of hopefully having all that information pushed in.
Frank,
if it's
I
not
have mine set up through
Zapier,
Zapier. Yeah.
that's totally fine too. Zapier is the other option. All right. Zapier will push it into the email marketing program. The big difference with RealSync is when someone clicks, it'll push that information right back into your CRM so you have context. So which is going to kind of, right? So this is going to make these are helpful things to have when you get to this stage. Okay. Which leads me to my next point. Okay. I have this list of everyone clicking these links. What's next? Well, you need to cross-check them in your CRM for notes. you probably won't remember that they might be a buyer or a seller or when you worked with them last or who they are. That information is not in the email account. So go search their email in your CRM. You should be able to search by email in your CRM and see if it shows up, and it should. If it doesn't show up, add them. Just add a new contact in your CRM straight up by the email address. Got it? And then again, if you have the RealSync integration, you can pull this list right in your CRM and already be in there. That's what's nice. Okay. So now you have your click report. You search the email in your CRM. If they're there, great. Hopefully you have some insights. If they're not, create a new contact. Sound good? But now let's say all you have is an email address. Ugh. Well, at this point, you might want to see if you can look up some more information on the person. You might want to Google the email address, see what comes up, do a little homework. You might want to try a skip trace, where maybe there's paid services that you type the email address into, like an email address lookup that you can try. There's a whole bunch of them out there. They're all equally terrible. Sign up for 2 or 3, give it a shot. See if you can find out if it makes any sense. If it's a B2B, if the person's kind of like if it's a realtor, it's probably really easy to find them. If it's a consumer, it's probably a little more difficult, right? See what you can find. Do a little bit of research. I tell our guys 3 minutes. You can spend 3 minutes on research. That's what I tell my guys. All right. Okay. So now they're in the CRM. You did your research. You have what you have. Okay. Now you have to reach out. And ideally, you want to reach out with an email, a text, and a phone call, assuming you have their phone number to reach out. Okay. And the message is really simple. Hey, and again, I'll do this as if you're doing the reach out. Hey, this is Stacy. Hey, this is Dallas. Hey, this is Brian. I see you subscribe to some of my stuff I send out. I just sent out a video on the topic of X. And I just want to know if you have any questions. And also maybe I want to invite you to an event. I'm here. Is there anything you'd like to know, or maybe would you be interested in scheduling a time to meet with me if you're actually thinking about buying or selling or looking to improve your business? I just want you to feel it. Don't worry about writing it down exactly. But does that reach out feel authentic? Saying something like that in a text, something like that in an email in that way. So it's like, hey, this is so-and-so. I see you subscribe. I see you watch my stuff. I just sent out something about this. I have another resource. I have another event. I want to give you more details maybe on that. But also ultimately, I'd like to talk to you if you actually have the problem I solve. And would you like to schedule a time to speak with me? I'm here to help. Would you like to talk about buying or selling or moving or, and growing your real estate business, Brian? See that? That's the feel. And if you can communicate that feeling when you reach out, the script can change to whatever you want, but that's how it should feel. And I would email them that. I would text them that. Okay. And I would also call them and leave a voicemail with that. An attempt includes all 3 medias: a call, a text, and a voicemail. Got it? Assuming you have it. All right. And just do it once. You don't have to do it 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. These are not like opt-in leads. Just once. Got it?
Are you saying we do that call, or we have someone?
Well,
can we do it, or someone do it on our
someone
behalf?
else 100% can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Let's
Just wanted
be
to
honest.
clarify. Yeah, because
You guys ain't doing this. All right.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
could you, if you're a brand new agent and you have more time than money, right? You're making the calls. But hopefully at some point you have more money than time and your money can make the calls through somebody.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So we'll talk about that here at the end. Okay. So I want you to notice there how I referenced why I'm calling them. I see you subscribe. I didn't say like, hey, I see you're clicking links. Right? I see you subscribe. Okay. Where's that? What's that from? Who's that professor in The Simpsons? Professor Frink? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't watch The Simpsons.
I know who you're
Hey.
talking. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about, but I don't know his name. Professor Frank sounds good.
Yeah, something like that. Here's why I'm calling you. I have something of value. Do you want to meet? Fair enough. So when you make that attempt, I would log it in the CRM that you reached out, because here's what's going to happen. That same person's going to click the next week and the next week and the next week, and you're not going to remember that you actually reached out to them. And what I tell our guys is wait 30 days. So don't be blindly calling somebody and not referencing the past conversation because you're not logging the attempt in CRM when the next click report comes through. We're clear on this? If the next email goes out 2 weeks later and they click again and you search the CRM and you called them 2 weeks ago and they get back to you, I mean, I guess you can, but at least you had that insight if that's the case. I don't like bothering people every time they click something necessarily. All right. So at least in the CRM, you'll have that information and that will be logged that you made that attempt. All right. Okay. So let's say they reply back. Let's say they talk to you. Great. Go for the appointment. Right. Go for the meeting or just talk to them there and see if there's a need and see how you can help them. It's pretty straightforward. And if I had to choose between slogging through the whole database versus sending out an email to shake the trees, to find some people that are engaged and calling those people, you're probably going to have a higher statistical probability that's a lot more efficient to get somebody on the phone that might have the problem you solve. I'm sure we can all agree with that, right? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, I leave a note of the conversation in CRM, et cetera, et cetera. Let's now talk a little bit about hiring an assistant to do this for you. How does that sound? Okay. So I don't care where you hire them, whether it's in the States or it's overseas, makes no difference. Let's not worry about where they are, okay? Or what you pay them. That's beyond the scope of today. Let's just explain what I want them to do. Typically speaking, a full-time hire that is doing 3 minutes of research, putting together like a real email, sending a real text, which by the way, at the end of your texts, make sure you put reply stop to cancel at the end of all of your texts for compliance. I highly recommend you do that. All right. Doing some research on CRM, logging notes, doing it methodically and can commit to the job long-term without getting burnout, 50 attempts a day. That's the number. I know I hear these crazy, I do 300 calls a day or 4. No, that's you just running Neanderthaling your way through a list. I would say when you're doing precise lead follow-up and you're doing the research and you're logging it right, 50 attempts a day is about right, or about 6, 7 an hour or so is what you're doing. Okay. So a full-time person for 8 hours a day, given they have meetings with you and a huddle and everything else, probably gets about 7 hours of actual time for lead follow-up, 50 attempts. Okay. When they work the list, they're going to call them once. They're not going to call them 3 times. Just call it 1 call, 1 email, 1 text once. All right. If you do hire someone, I recommend they use a phone system. They should not be making their calls on their cell phone. All right. I do recommend you use the phone system that's built into your CRM if you have one with a local number. If you don't have one built in, there's a lot of phone systems you can sign up for. The one that I like is Zoom Phone, $20 a month. And they just, they put on a headset and they can dial for their computer or they can install the app on their phone, at least call through the app on the phone. And what's nice about that is all the calls can be recorded, all the texts are recorded, and you can sync Zoom to your CRM. So it's all logged on the contact record and you have full visibility on all the communication. Got it? It's real nice. And then I would meet with them once a day. Hey, how'd your day go yesterday? How many hours did you work? How many people did you reach out to? Well, Frank, I reached out to 50. Great. You called them, left a voicemail, text all of them, logged note in CRM. Yep. Great. Do you follow the general scripts I gave you? The playbook? Yep. Great. How many people responded? 10. It's a good day. If you get like a 15 to 20% response rate, where basically 80 to 85% of people are going to completely ignore you. But if you get 15 to 20% actually respond, even if it's like yelling at you, that's a win. All right. That's a win. I've been doing this a long time. Okay. Okay. So that's how many contacts you made. I consider response to contacts. You made 50 attempts. How many responses did you get? Cool. Of the responses you got, how many people should I call back? Don't even worry about appointments. This is your assistant. Let's just start with like, who should I call back? Who's actually wants to hear back from me about buying or selling a home or meeting with me about switching brokerages or a team, or at least open to a discussion about growing their business in a different way from what they're currently getting where they're at, Brian. Well, actually, I found 2 people and don't want you to call them back. Oh, great. Got it? Pro tip, call them back right there on your morning huddle with them so they can hear it. They can feel the wind. They're getting beat up all day long. And one of the best ways to lead people is they understand how they fit into the larger context and they understand the why of what they're doing. So if you call those people back while you're on the call, while you're on meeting with them once a day, that's the way to go. Cool. Great. I love these meetings. Like I literally have these meetings every single day. Great. How many hours did you work yesterday? How many people did you reach out to? How many people got back to us? Who's interested? Okay. Next question I ask them is, did you get any responses or did anyone ask you any questions that you weren't sure what to say? Always comes up. I say, great. What did they say? And then I write down the response and I put that in a Google Doc called the Book of Scripts. So the Book of Scripts is like every possible question, thing that comes up on the phone, everything you can possibly imagine that people are going to ask you or ask your calling assistant or your appointment setter or whoever, whatever you want to call them, or executive assistant. So they know what to say when they get people say these things or email them back. Sound good?
How do they access that book of scripts on the fly? Do they just
Google Doc. They just have a Google Doc open. So I just
Okay.
have a little folder that has the
so
Google Doc.
the question comes up and they're scrolling the Google Doc? Hopefully they come across it and are able to read it.
Yeah,
You don't make
Yeah.
them take it home and memorize it?
I should. It's a good idea.
They're all gonna
All right.
hate you, Dallas.
Yeah.
For that idea.
All right, here's the next thing I do if there's time. Great. Go pull one of your call recordings. They go log into Zoom. And oh, by the way, if you're going to turn on automatic call recording, you need to make sure that you work into your phone scripts. They say they're calling on a recorded line. Got it? You guys know what I'm talking about. Hey, just to remind you, we're on a recorded line. So scripts like, hey, this is Bob. I work for Frank at Vyral Marketing, calling on a recorded line and blah, blah, blah. All right. Just make sure you always say that if it's recorded. Now, there's some states they're one party or two party. Let's not worry about that. Let's just always disclose to the other party that's always a recorded line if you turn on auto call recording. Okay. So now let's say they made their calls. I'd say go pull a call recording where you're really proud of or you want some help with, or at least one you had a meaningful conversation. And I have them go in, grab the recording right from their history in their Zoom phone, which makes using a phone system really easy this way. I have them play it, share their Zoom, turn their audio on, let's go. And I listen. And I will tell you what I say all the time. Slow down. It's the first thing I say all the time. Second thing I say all the time, adjust your microphone. You're breathing into it. I can hear you breathing. Adjust your microphone above your nose. Now let's get you a better microphone. You were coming through your webcam, not in your mic. You sound like you're in an echo chamber. Oh, turn your fan off. I always say it comes up all the time. Third thing, for a lot of people, they're very nervous, especially if you're hiring overseas. I want a downswing on the end of your sentences. So if you go in most other cultures, you go up at the end. Hey, I'm really interested in setting an appointment with you. Or I'm really interested in setting an appointment with you. Which one sounds better? The latter, right? So downswing on the end of sentences. Okay. And then generally being comfortable and making the scripts their own where they understand the intent behind them and the why, and not just reading them verbatim. How's that? So now you can listen to the calls. If I have more time, all right, I'm logging in your email account. Or maybe I had said, or maybe there was something set up where they auto BCC'd me on their emails. Let's look at your emails. Make sure you have Grammarly installed. Let's make sure you're not making big mistakes. Let's make sure the formatting is good. I want to see the emails that you're sending out. Let's look at them. And I actually review the emails with them. You guys getting exhausted yet of the work this takes? Because it's real. All right. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll even go in and look at their texts. And I'll go into the phone system and look at the texts that were sent and look at those as well. And now you're giving them real coaching to the communication. You guys got it? Then there's even more time.
Hey,
I'll
Frank,
pull up the CRM,
question
make sure
for
it's
you.
logged. Good.
So are these the people that you're working with? Are they overseas, like in the Philippines?
My team is, yes. I have a team in the USA. If you hire in the USA, you're probably going to pay about $15 to $20 an hour. And I would recommend you just post a job on Upwork saying that you're looking for an administrative assistant or executive assistant. That's what I would post it under. And say I got a pretty flexible kind of semi full-time job, just following up with people to see if they're interested in talking to me. You make call about 50 people a day. I'll give you all the scripts. I'll tell you exactly what to say. I'll meet with you every single day and guide you. And just need you to be a good, ambassador of my brand and my name out to people representing me, just seeing if they're interested in talking. And if they say yes, you're just going to pass the name to me the very next day. That's the job ad. 15, 20 bucks an hour. Sound good? Once you master that, you can certainly hire overseas. You're probably looking at about $5, $6 an hour for that talent. So $5 or $6 an hour in the Philippines. I've also gotten good results in Pakistan, Jamaica, Mexico, Central America, really anywhere. All right. Two things that help me with hiring someone internationally is their accent. So how do I know their accent? There's an app called Bold Voice. It's AI English accent trainer. And there's a 10-minute assessment. They can download Bold Voice and take the assessment on Bold Voice, and it will score them of how their English is.
That's crazy.
Okay, Bold Voice.
Where are you finding, or like, how do you find this pool of people overseas?
Referrals. You can go to Upwork. Upwork, you just post a job around the world as opposed to in the States. Okay.
Okay.
And people will apply. But your best bet is to figure out who the major employers are in the country. Like in the Philippines, you have Google, Accenture, IBM, United Healthcare. People that work there have gone through a pretty stringent screening process. And if you can have someone that can kind of maybe lure someone away from one of those jobs, you have a much higher probability of success, right? The second thing after doing a Bold Voice assessment is we'll use a pre-employment skills test. One of the issues you have hiring abroad is reading comprehension, English comprehension, just understanding English. So they may be able to, think about it. Come on, it's like your second language, right? Maybe able to speak it, but it's one thing to read it and understand it and like actually understand what you're saying, right? So we use Test Gorilla. I'll show it to you. Dude, this is just beyond the scope of Vyral. I just happen to know a lot about this because I've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it
might help
us,
you,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful.
Yeah. So, for example, we test them on their intermediate English with a 10-minute assessment, reading comprehension with a 10-minute assessment, communication skills, attention to detail, and what are their basic skills as a call representative. So the assessment takes about an hour. We pay them an hour of their time, so I pay them to take it. And then it comes back with a score. A score of 50 is median. So it's a bell curve. So they score a 50, they're just totally, literally the most average person ever, right? You're in the middle of the bell curve. You're probably looking for someone 50% or higher. Usually it comes back at like 60, 70, sometimes a little higher, but sometimes it's real low, like it's like a 9. Like what? Like there's probably a problem there, right? That you might have found. You're on the very low end of the bell curve. So Bold Voice is the app. Test Gorilla helps out with the assessing those basic reading comprehension skills. When I asked them to do a voice sample, internationally they use Vocaroo, Vocaroo. I'll tell them to go to vocaroo.com and just leave me a message about, for a minute or less about why you want to work here. And then after all that, you're kind of good to go. We use Hubstaff for payroll. And now they have Hubstaff Pay. So it'll just ding your credit card and pay. And I recommend you start at $5 an hour.
You do any spiffs or anything when they set appointments?
$10 per appointment met if they're going for appointment. So I pay $5 an hour plus $10 per appointment met. Got it? 1 week paid vacation. All major country and religious holidays. You're going to have Muslim holidays in Pakistan, and then you'll have the Philippines, where let's face it, most people go there is mostly Catholic, so major Catholic holidays. I'll give paid time off for that. And then pay every 2 weeks. And then you just run the payroll like anything else. Does that help?
Yeah,
Zoom meetings.
thanks.
So it's a little different, when you're hiring internationally, accent, reading comprehension, second language, how do you pay, right? What's culturally appropriate? That kind of helps you, gives you some guidance.
Didn't you say there was an AI filter that kind of helps with the accent?
I think
said that
they're going to come
once,
out.
but
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. So when it comes to writing, if you give someone Grammarly, like their writing can be pretty terrible, and Grammarly will kind of take care of it for you, especially give them a good writing script. So you pretty much got your emails and text handled by running it through Grammarly first. But, using your voice and speaking is the hard part, right? And let's face it, the big thing you think of is the accent. So you can work on that. There's accent trainers. I mean, sign them up for Bold Voice. I mean, sign them up, pay for it. It's like $20 a month. And say, I want you to practice for 20 minutes a day to work the muscles and the way you speak to get really confident in your American English. You're looking ultimately the kind of the holy grail for calling into America is the person has a neutral American accent. That's why all the call centers are out of the Midwest, where I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska.
What about providing equipment? Internet? Do you pay for internet?
Nah, they'll have their own. So usually, they'll have their own computer, headset. I haven't really had a problem. What I do buy sometimes is a generator. So sometimes you might need a generator because the power is going out. Not the most reliable electrical grids. People get monsooned all the time. I just bought someone's Starlink with Elon Musk's Starlink. So Starlink's all over the Philippines now. I was like, this person, their internet cannot go out. There's way too much responsibility on that individual. So the internet goes down because they get monsooned, right? And Starlink, it's not that expensive. So they're just going outside, putting up a satellite, and ding, and turn on the generator. you're rocking and rolling, buddy. Yeah.
Despite the monsoon.
Yeah.
Get your ass out there and set up there.
Yeah, but there isn't really any problems. I mean, if you really want to, you can go sign up for a VPN like Tunnel Bear. So it shows that you're logging in from like the Philippines, and then go to like myoutdesk.ph or Cyberbacker's website. Like all these staffing companies have recruiting sites, right? For the foreign hires they're reselling to you at a markup. Just go look what they're offering, what they're paying. They'll usually block you from them if you're coming from America, but you can go around with the VPN, and you can just see what the staffing companies are paying, so you kind of know if you're competitive or not. $800 a month is kind of a median income for maybe as a single person or maybe even a small family in the Philippines. I mean, managers will probably make up to maybe $8 an hour. You're really, really, really skilled people will be more than that, but that's kind of where the pay range is. You convert it to the Philippine peso. I think the peso is trading at about maybe $50. There's 50 pesos to $1 in the Philippines. What else do you guys want to know? We'll just spend 10 minutes talking about this. This has nothing to do with viral marketing. Please, Lord, do not ask anyone at Viral Marketing anything we talked about in the past 30 minutes.
That's okay. We can move on.
Sorry to get you sidetracked, but that's really helpful.
Well, it's honestly helpful information, because let's be real. Like, I want you guys to keep paying me. That'd be really nice. All right. And you're going to do that only if the leads that are generated actually turn into business. And let's be real. Like, you're going to probably need to hire somebody at a rate you can afford, which is probably not going to be $20 an hour full time. Okay. And even that's pushing it for pay, 15 to 20, right? Especially all the inflation, everything going on. You're probably going to have to go international. So it's like, okay, I got to get comfortable with that. I got to find somebody that can reach out on my behalf and represent me well. And those are my tips.
What about buyer agents? We're primarily going after listings. Is it an idea to get a buyer agent to do this follow-up?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like, yes. So I think you're going to run into a lot of trouble trying to get an independent contractor that joined your team for freedom and flexibility to do this. Got it? It's just going to be hard because when someone joins your team, let's face it, they're more of the customer than the employee, right? They're more of the customer of yours generally. And that line is gray, right? You might be able to luck out finding an agent that's an independent contractor on your team in your office to do this. It's just unlikely. It's going to be a real unicorn to find someone that can knock this out and do it the way that you want it consistently over time, reliably. It's probably going to be a W-2 hire or a contractor foreign that acts as W-2, essentially, where they work for you versus is it a, and that's the ultimate question on teams. I mean, with brokerage, it's pretty clear. You're the customer. But the real estate teams is what muddies that waters. Is like, are they a customer or are they an employee, and where do they fall on the line? It kind of depends upon how much money they're making and the state of the market and kind of how they feel that day on that line. That's what causes all the stress. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, things are really good. I'm your customer. Hey, things are not very good. You know? So yeah. You're gonna have to build you're either gonna have to make the calls yourself or you're gonna have to hire and train someone somewhere to do them. Fair enough?
Got it.
Yep. So ultimately, from an ROI standpoint, here's what I want to see. So you guys are going to pay Vyral marketing what, 625 a month times 12. What is that? $7,500 a year. So you guys are risking $7,500 a year to pay us to help you with all this. I would like you to see a 10-time return on that money. That means you're spending 10% of your commission to get it, right? That's like a really healthy customer acquisition cost, real healthy. All right. So how do you really know that when you're kind of marketing to the existing database? Doesn't that kind of murky the waters a little bit? I mean, yes, it does, but let's be real. Like if someone reaches out to you and says, hey, I've been watching your videos, I've been following you along, I want to work with you, right down to Vyral was probably something that came from that, right? Then if you get a call back or you get an appointment from your assistant or you reaching out to the people clicking the links in the emails, write down my Vyral marketing helped out with that, at least doing the email marketing, right? Or when we send these emails out, to generate leads to a landing page and you're following up with the people that request a free home value or a cash offer, and those people turn into business, write down Vyral from that. At the end of the year, you're going to look at all the deals you've done, all the sales you've made, and you should look at the lead source, right? And yeah, maybe it was originally off like some Facebook ad a long time ago, but it was kind of Vyral that moved the needle. There's some judgment calls there. In marketing, they call it first referring or last referring. Do I credit the lead source to how they initially came in, or really what made them move the needle later? It's a marketing call on lead attribution and tracking. That's what they call it. So I like to be last referring. It's probably where Vyral's going to come. All right.
Frank, I've had a lot of these leads that came in that you guys have been target marketing, and they're coming in from Vyral right now.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's nice too. Like, look, I know we sit here and talk about money and ROI, but we're human beings. Like, I don't want to wake up every day and go to work and just have to prove myself to a stranger every single day. It's exhausting. You might make money, but you're going to burn out and hate your job. I would like it if everyone I talk to has spent a lot of time with me online first. Oh, makes things so much easier. Like the calls that come in from these webinars, Frank, I've spent 7 hours with you now watching these things. Mercy, I give up. Here's my money. I mean, they're great calls, right? I mean, I think ultimately that's what you're looking for by publishing your content. Number one KPI, and you're going to get a lot of intangible benefits, is the ease of doing business, because people will know who you are when they talk to you, you talk to them. And the second intangible benefit is the price elasticity of your service, is people will spend more money because they feel comfortable and they like you and they trust you and they just want to work with you because they know you and their character. And the online video marketing helps with that. And they're willing to pay a little more because you're providing them this feeling of certainty. Those are some other intangible benefits of this I just want to cover. So you have the hard ROI, but you also have those intangibles. So how's that?
That was helpful.
All right. So we have one more lesson I would like to go over with you guys for the 8 classes. And then we're going to start all over again with a whole new group of 8. So if we have any clients watching this, email me, Frank at GetVyral, and say, I would like to be your next victim starting in 2 weeks to be on these webinars with me. I'm going to take a whole new, I'll take 2 to 3 new clients through the same 8 lessons. I'm going to teach the exact same 8 lessons with 2 to 3 new clients starting 2 weeks from now and do season 2. So this was season 1 and we'll do season 2 next because all of our coaches, all of our employees watch these, prospective customers watch these, current customers looking to get better watch these, and it helps you get better. It helps everyone, just everyone, the whole ecosystem get better results watching these replays. All right. And I like that because I'm kind of tired of just like doing all these webinars and like all these things that I know. That's not necessarily why you come to Vyral. You come to Vyral to like implement the Vyral plan. And I keep these 8 lessons like in the scope of like, this is what you do as an actual paying client to get business from your database versus going on tangents like I did for the past 30 minutes, which is hard. So let's take a look at the last lesson. So ROI, right? You guys are spending $625 a month and maybe a little retargeting money, a couple bucks a day, and some money on letters. That's all you're in, plus your build fee of $2,000 that you'd maybe amortize over the course of the relationship with us of how you would account for that. The last lesson is let's get it all paid for. How does that sound? Would you guys like to get all your viral marketing zero costed?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. So here's the lesson next week. Is a complementary business or advanced, I'll say businesses, but is a complementary business advertising with you to lower your cost? Okay. So little teaser for next week. Go to Google and type in pre-mover list. These are all the businesses selling your data, and they're making a fortune because lots of businesses buy pre-mover lists. Dentists, restaurants, who wants access to people who are moving? A lot of money's trading hands. Okay. I'll show this next week, but if you Google the NAR economic impact study, it'll show how much money is put into the hands of people when someone moves. Significant, state by state. And there's a lot of businesses that would love to partner up with a realtor like yourself to be mentioned in your videos, mentioned in your emails, come to your team meetings, whatever, to kind of weave themselves ethically and appropriately into your marketing so they align themselves with you to get some business. So just like a magazine sells ads, or I'm sure you listen to podcasts if there's an ad, or you're watching a YouTube video where they cut to a native ad. You've seen this stuff. Do the same. Do the same. And we can keep it in a way where the money that you take from anyone will be off the settlement statement. So it won't be anyone that's subject to RESPA because they're paid on the settlement statement from title. I don't know, like a credit repair, general contractor. Hey, I can't find any, Julian, I can't find anywhere to go. Let me just add on an EDU or let me renovate my house. You might get that. There's no place to go, right?
Yeah. I have more than I care to admit right now.
Yeah. So we'll spend a whole hour next week on how would we go about raising some sponsor money and selling some advertising to help offset this stuff. The same thing with you, Brian. How many people love to get in front of all the agents in Utah?
A lot.
Any
A lot
vendors?
right now. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Title companies. And plus, I don't know the whole legal RESPA stuff, but at least you're on a different side of the business. You're on the coaching side, right? You're
Frank,
advertising to agents.
Will you be covering the RESPA issues for?
Ha! Absolutely not. No. Hard no.
Okay.
The answer is don't do it. And then if you do it, you need to go get representation. All right.
Okay.
And there's RESPA attorneys and there's third-party valuation firms. Just don't take my stance at Vyrals, don't do it, but people do, and you can. You just need to make sure that's set up correctly. So when you get a demand letter from a regulator, you can defend yourself.
Yeah, because it's a slippery slope once you
Yes.
get into it. And, Zillow they do all the billing for us. So there's questions about if we're going to do it ourselves, how do we bill
Yeah.
for that?
Well, we'll talk about that. You have to do it for yourself because
Yeah.
you're selling advertising on your platform. I can't take the sponsor's money. I've been advised against that because
Okay.
that means I'm providing the sponsor services. I'm not.
Okay.
What you're selling is advertising space on your platform. So you'll be taking the money from them. All right.
All right.
So I know we're a little bit over. We guys have a few minutes. Do you guys have any questions? Anything in the Q&A? I'll open the Q&A up really quick. I'll open the chat up really quick. I want you guys making money. I want you guys selling houses. I want you guys getting a good ROI. I want you staying customers. I have bills too.
Frank, I
Well,
now have 4 listings. I think I've already hit my ROI
good. Great. Let's keep it up.
because even the price point on these listings is well above the average.
Yeah. Ray, just go to Zapier is maybe cheaper. I don't know. Use RealSync. Just use RealSync. There are no cons. It's a Zapier that was created specifically for all the real estate apps to talk to each other because the Zapier integrations were just not quite where they needed to be because they have such a huge broad stroke of like integrating like the world of being like the duct tape of the internet. RealSync was designed specifically to get all the niche real estate applications to talk to each other. And it's a two-way sync. So not only does the stuff go from your CRM to the email program, when someone clicks a link or does something in the email program, it pushes it back to your CRM. Zapier won't push it back to your CRM. RealSync will. Scott Solari, he's a CEO. He actually married my wife and I, and he's an ex-Vyral marketing employee. Yep. Anything else?
Scott signed us up many years ago for Vyral.
Good. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you next week for your last lesson.
Thanks,
How's that?
Frank. Hey, are we on Thursday or Friday next week?
Let's find out. Let's wait. We are on for Friday. Friday new time. Yeah, Friday. I'll
Okay.
send you the meeting time. I'll update the Zoom webinar for Friday next week.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Frank.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Take
Frank.
care. See ya.
Bye.
Later.